there. Um, then after that, it's all Indiana.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Dog's gonna move now. Thank you. Trying to block out the glare of that light, but now I gotta sit crooked. Oh, it is AA day. I'll give it a couple of minutes because Roy and Becky Travels is still alive. They are awesome people. So you can check them out as well. So it is Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it is time for AA today. So, what are the rules? No judgment. No bullying. If you want your name to be in the chat, you can come in the chat. If you don't, then I won't know you're here unless you leave a comment. So this is a gift that I received from going to AA for a long time. Those of you that are new here, I am 8 years and 5 months sober. It's been a journey. It's been a lot. So I know that there are people out there that cannot get to a meeting for whatever circumstance it is. And I decided to add AA to my channel. Hello, Ava. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. And check out Ava Potterfield and Friends. She's an amazing person. Shouts people out, helps when she can, and always there to listen. But she also has Agus Paranormal, where she does moon videos. She does music videos for them playing their own music. So please check them out. Steve is here. Thank you for coming. If you know Steve and Oki, if not, please go check them out. They're in Arizona. and they get some really good content out there. And yeah, check them out. And Kat, thank you for being here. Hitch Up and Toe, thank you. Sierra RV, welcome. All right, we'll see you when you get back. Anyways, so this is AA. I'm glad you're all here to help everyone who is in that situation. Um, pass it along. You never know who it may help. So, and that is why I am doing it. Because I want to help whoever I can help with becoming sober and having a sober life. Because even though I've had those really bad days, I've also had very great days. And it's a daily thing. You can't give up on working your steps and going on your adventure of your sobriety. And I start with the serenity prayer, and then I will read the steps, and then we'll get into the big book. We're still reading Bill's story. I put the information in the description of this video for people who watch later. You can get these books. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by Amazon, but you can get them from Amazon. You can get them from a local AA meeting. You can rent them from a library. So if you are in need of a book, please, I recommend getting a book because there's so much information in these books. And even every time you read them, things are different. It connects with you differently than it did the first time. So I will start with the serenity prayer, and then we will get into the steps. Please remember, be kind, no judgment, no bullying, and we're going to get on it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'll take my glasses off because I can't see to read with them on. And if you need to know where you can find the steps and traditions, and that's what you want to read, it's always in the front of the book. Okay, step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Hello, daily dose of the Bible. 10. Continue to take personal inventory and, when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Yes, I know them by heart. I just stumble on my words. Okay, so today we are on, I don't know if I said 10 or 11, but we're right there. So I will start at He Talked on page 10 of the big book. If you have a newer edition than I do, it might not be on page 10, but it's all right because I will read it anyways, and you can just follow along and listen. That's great. Okay, this is Bill's story. He talked for hours. Childhood memories rose before me. I could almost hear the sound of the preacher's voice as I sat on still Sunday way over there on the hillside. There was the proffered temperance pledge. I never signed my grandfather's good-natured contempt of some church folk and their doings, his insistence that the Spears really had their music, but his denial of the preacher's right to tell him how he must listen, his fearlessness as he spoke of these things just before he died. These recollections welled up from the past. They made me swallow hard. That wartime day in old Winchester Cathedral came back again. I had always believed in a power greater than myself. I had often pondered these things. I was not an atheist. Few people really are, for that means blind faith in the strange prosperation that this universe originated in a cipher and aimless rushes nowhere. My intellectual heroes, the chemist, the astronomer, even the evolutionist, suggest vast laws of forces at work. Despite contrary indications, I had little doubt that a mighty purpose and rhythm underlay all. How could there be so much of precise and immutable law and no intelligence? I simply had to believe in a spirit of the universe who knew neither time nor limitations, but that was as far as I had gone. That's a little bit. With ministers and the world's religion, I parted right there. When they could, or when they talked of a God personal to me, who was love, superhuman, strength, and direction, I became irritated and my mind snapped shut against such a theory. To Christ I conceded the certainty of a great man, not too closely followed by those who claimed him. His moral teaching, most excellent. For myself, I had adopted those parts which seemed convenient and not too difficult. The rest I disregarded. Stop. Stop. The dog. The wars which had been fought, the burnings and chickeny, that religious dispute that facilitated made me sick. I honestly doubted whether, on balance, the religion of mankind had done any good, judging from what I had seen in Europe and since. The power of God in human affairs were negotiable. The brotherhood of man a grim jest. If there was a devil, he he seemed the boss universal, and he certainly had me. But my friend sat before me, and he made the point blank declarations that God had done for him what he could not do for himself. His human will had failed doctors, and doctors had pronounced him incurable. Society was about to lock him up. Like myself, he had admitted complete defeat. Then he had in effect been raised from the dead, suddenly taken from the scrap heap to a level of life better than the best he had ever known. Had this power originated in him? Obviously it had. Not. There had been no more power in him than there was in me at that minute, and this was none at all. That floored me. It began to look as though religious people were right after all. Here was something at work in a human heart which had done the impossible. My ideas about miracles were drastically revised right then. Never mind the musty past. Here sat a miracle directly across the kitchen table. He shouted great tidings. I saw that my friend was much more than inwardly recognized. He was on a different footing, his root grasped on a new soil. Despite the living example of my friend, there remained in me the vestiges of my old prejudice. The word God still aroused a certain antipathy when the thought was expressed that there might be a God personal to me. This feeling was intensified. I didn't like the idea. I could go for such conceptions of as creative intelligence, universal mind, or spirit of nature, but I resisted the thought of a Caesar of the heavens, however loving his sway might be. I have since talked with scores of men who felt the same. My friend suggested what then seemed a novel idea. He said, "Why don't you choose your own conception of God?" That statement hit me hard. It melted the icy into a mountain in which shadow I had lived and shivered many years. I stood in the sunlight at last. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. Nothing more was required of me to make my beginning. I saw that growth could start from that point. Upon a foundation of complete willingness, I might build I all what I saw in my friend. Who I have would I have it? Of course I would. Reading makes my mouth dry. Thus was I convinced that God is concerned with us humans when we want Him enough. At long last, I saw, I felt, I believed, scales of pride and prejudice fell from my eyes. A new world came into view. The real significance of my experience in the cathedral birth upon me. For a belief, for a brief moment, I had needed and wanted God. There had been a humble willingness to have Him with me, and He came. But soon the sense of His presence had been blotted out by worldly clamors, mostly those within myself. And so it had been ever since. How blind I had been! Sorry. At the hospital, I was separated from alcohol for the last time. Treatment seemed wise, for I showed signs of delirium treatment tremens. Then I humbly offered myself to God, and I then understood Him. To do with me as He would, I placed myself unreservedly under His care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing, that without Him I was lost. I ruthlessly faced my sins and became willing to have my newfound friend take them away root and branch. I have not had a drink since. My schoolmate visited me, and I was fully acquainted him with my problems and deficiencies. Sorry. We made a list of people I had hurt or toward whom I felt resentment. I expressed my entire willingness to approach these individuals, admitting my wrongs. Never was I to be critical of them. I was to write all such matters to the utmost of my ability. I was to test my thinking by the new God consciousness within. Common sense would thus become unasking only for direction and strength to meet my problems, as He would have one or have me. Never was I to pray for myself, except as my request bore on my usefulness to others. Then then only might I expect to receive, but that would be in great measure. My friend promised when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my Creator, that I would have the elements of a way of living which answered all my problems. Belief in power of God, plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility to establish and maintain the new order of things were the essential requirements. Simple but not easy, a price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self centeredness. I must turn in all things to the Father of light, who presides over us. These were revolutionary and drastic proposals, but the moment I fully accepted them, the effect was electric. There was a sense of victory followed by such a peace and serenity as I had never known. There was utter confidence. I felt lifted up as though the great clean wind of of a mountain top blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound. For a moment I was alarmed and called my friend, the doctor, to ask if I were still sane. He listened in wonder as I talked. Finally, he shook his head, saying, "Something has happened to you I don't understand, but you had better hang on to it. Anything is better than the way you were." The good doctor now sees many men who and women who have such experiences. He knows that they are real. While I lay in the hospital, the thought came that there were thousands of hopeless alcoholics who might be glad to have what had been so freely given me. Perhaps I could help some of them. Then in turn might work with others. My friend had emphasized the absolute necessity of demonstrating these principles in all my affairs. Particularly was it imperative to work with others as he had worked with me. Faith without works was dead, he said, and how appallingly true for the alcoholic. For if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work and self sacrifice for others, he would not survive the certain trials and low sport ahead. If he did not work, he would surely drink again, and if he drank, he would surely die. Then faith would be dead indeed. With us, it is just like that. My wife and I abandoned ourselves with enthusiasm to the idea of helping other alcoholics to a solution of their problems. It was my old unfortunate for my old business associates remained skeptical for a year and a half, during which I found little work. I was not too well at the time, and I and was plagued by waves of self-pity and resentment. This sometimes nearly drove me to drink, but I soon found that when all other measures failed, work with another alcoholic would save the day. Many times I have gone to my old hospital in despair. On talking to a man there, I would be amazingly lifted up and set on my feet. It is a design for living that works in rough going. We commenced to make many fast friends, and a fellowship has grown up among us, of which it is a wonderful thing to feel a part. The joy of living we really have, even under pressure to difficulty. I have seen hundreds of families set their feet in the path that really goes somewhere, have seen the most impossible domestic situations righted, feuds and bitterness of all sorts wiped out. I have seen men and women come out of asylums and resume a vital life or vital place in the lives of their families and communities. Business and professional men and women have regained their standing. There is scarcely any form of trouble and misery which has not been overcome among us. In one western city and its environs, there are 1,000 of us and our families. We might frequently so that newcomers may find the fellowship they seek at these informal gatherings. One may often see from 50 to 200 persons. We are growing in numbers and power. An alcoholic in his cups is an unlovely creature. Our struggles with them are various stren, stren, strenuous comics and tragic. One poor chap committed suicide. Yeah, I can't say that. In my home, he could not or would not see our way of life. There is, however, a vast amount of fun about it all. I suppose some would be shocked at our seeming world, worldliness and levity, but just underneath there is deadly earnestness. Faith has to work 24 hours a day in and through us, or we perish. Most of us feel we need look no further for utopia. We have it with us right here and now. Each day, my friends, simple talk in our kitchen multiplies itself, a widening circle of peace on earth and goodwill to men and women. So y'all saw me crying, I'm sure. That is so true. That does happen. It happened to me. I was I had gone to the bottom of the bottle a long time before I even thought about going to AA. And I'm only giving this to everyone for free because it is a gift. I'm not a preacher. I'm no saint. I'm not perfect. I have to work these every single day. And when I do have a problem, I do call someone or I text someone or I will reach out to someone that I know. Um, like I have sponsees. I can't tell you who they are, but I do. And I do reach out to them and I do check on them to make sure that, they are okay. Because a lot of times they don't want to worry someone with their problem. But I can tell you, it is so gratifying to be able to help someone with this. I did not imagine how I would accept AA. I could not grasp that there was something that was going to help me to stay away from the drink. My friend said, "Hey, there's an AA meeting." Okay, I can go, I haven't seen that person in a very long time. I'm glad I did. I am very glad I did because of how far I have made it. And I have not done it by myself. I have had a lot of help, a lot of help, not financially, but I have had a lot of help with recognizing when I am wrong, recognizing when I feel like I am going to get to that point where I may want to go drink. I do such in a way that I have been taught through the books, through having sponsors, because I have 2 sponsors. Um, but I could not have made it this far without help of others. And the impact that these people had on me, the good days, the bad days, they help me remember why I am sober and remind me that this is what I want. This is what I truly want to be, is sober. I don't want to be drunk. I I do not miss those days ever because I was mean. I ran some of my family away. I'm still trying to get some of my family to realize, hey, you might just need this. I can't help everybody. Not everybody wants help. But I am here talking to YouTube to get it out. If you have an alcoholic problem or a other problem, there is help. There is a lot of help. I guarantee you that. Google AA and A. That's all you got to do. And it will tell you if there's a meeting really close to you. And if there is, check it out. You never know, it might help you. Because I sure didn't think anything was going to help me. I thought I was going to have to be like avoiding that aisle in the grocery store, which I did for a very long time. Um, yeah, I do. I don't use alcohol in anything at all because I am worried that if I get the taste of that, and it wasn't just the liquor, it was the beer. If I get a taste of it, I'm gonna go back down to the bottom because I've already been there twice. So I am not perfect at all in any way. I have been there. I've done it. I still deal with my days where I don't feel like doing anything. I don't want to be around anyone. And that's isolation. That's not always good. But however, coming here and talking to you, giving you a gift that I got for free, it is a blessing for me to be able to do that. A true blessing. And I will preach getting the AA name out there for everyone that needs it because, we all have problems. We all do have problems. And maybe you're not an alcoholic. Maybe you're not in need of AA, but you have a problem. Nobody's perfect. You can't be. And if you are having a bad day, a bad struggle of, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go get a drink and blah, 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 please don't. Please don't. Bad things happen when you're drinking. One of my things is I didn't like waking up with my room spinning. Didn't like it. But I was too dumb at that time to say, oh, wait, maybe it's the alcohol. My kids tried to get me to quit drinking. So, yes, I've had to make amends to my kids who are adults now. They watched me do that when they were teenagers, and one of them brought me a thing from the school saying what alcohol does to a person, and I disregarded it. That was dumb. I should have thought about that when he gave me that. But I was still drinking. I did not. That was all I cared about was getting that drink. You don't. Please don't. It's just you are not you when you're drinking. You are somebody you don't want to be. That's what I was. I was mean. I was so mean. Verbally. I didn't hit people, but I was verbally mean. And yeah. I'm glad that I got sober because my family was like, you're gonna keep doing this, we're gone. And I moved away for a while. I came back sober. And then my sister got sober. One of my sisters got sober. It is the best thing. It is. I say that every single day. Even when it's a bad day, I have gotten to see things with sober eyes that I never thought that I would be able to see. My boys graduating. There's a lot. There's so much that comes to my mind. Because that is an awakening. And that is the end of Bill's story. Um, this is a long book, very long book, but I'm here to do it. I started this and I'm going to keep going. I thank you guys for being here. It is having this community is so great. We all help each other get through our days. We all want to help the next person to live their best life. And I don't nag on people that drink all the time. If you drink, that's your preference. But I prefer to say I'm sober. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I will be a recovering alcoholic for the rest of my life. And I'm pretty proud of that. My plan is never to drink again. Nope. Every time I think about never drinking again. I think, but wait a minute. You can't say never ever because you don't know. You only know for 24 hours that you can stay to staying sober because it is a daily thing. A daily thing, not just, oh, let's make a plan way out here so we can be very disappointed if it doesn't work. You know, that's why we go short. So, I have been rambling for 45 minutes, and yeah, I just want you all to know that I am here to listen if you feel like being in chat and having others know. Um, because my chat does upload. I always warn. I thought for sure I could keep them from uploading, and I can't. So, please know that you're welcome here. And thank you for listening. And please work your steps. Reach out to someone if you need any help with making that decision to go to uh, a better sobriety life, because every day is worth it. And please like, share, comment, subscribe. For now, this will be the name for this channel. I am going to try to figure out how to get it different from my adventures. So, but for right now, they're tied together. Um, but I'm gonna say the Serenity Prayer so you guys can get back to your day. Um, I love you all, and uh, stay safe, stay sober. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works only if you work it. Love you guys. Have a great day.